Jurak Classic Whole Body Tonic is a dietary supplement, not a drug. Therefore, it is useful to affect the structure and/or function of your body in various ways, but it is not intended to and will not cure, mitigate, treat, or prevent any disease. Individual testimonials may not be everyone's experience and do not constitute scientific evidence. Jurak Corporation does not make any drug or treatment claims for its product.
Another fantastic TonicMan podcast. We're broadcasting here from sunny Florida, and our guest is Brian, and he's in sunny Wisconsin. And of course, we have folks around the world. We hope the sun is shining for them, but probably if they're drinking the youth solution, JC Tonic, it is. Because everyone who has had the benefit of the JC Tonic, this marvelous, remarkable herbal preparation that my father began to commercialize actually in 1943. Imagine 1943. You know, on our bottle, we have the slogan, since 1943, tested in the finest laboratory in the world. The human body. What laboratory could be more really remarkable than the human body? What laboratory can do as many things as the human body does every second? None. If the human body is able to keep itself in good repair for your first 20, 30, maybe 40 years before you go to the doctor for the first time, boy, oh boy, it must be doing a lot of good stuff. And the problem after that age is that our bodies start to fall apart. That's because we don't do the maintenance, you know, largely in America, but probably the world over. As a matter of fact, I had an old Swiss friend who he used to kiss his car. So, you know, people spend more time, energy, and TLC on their automobile than their own body. So you're looking at Brian there, and he's got one heck of a story because he, along with tens of thousands of other people, have been drinking this for a long, long time, staying young. Well, staying young. Look, I'm 87 and 3/4 year old now. Yeah, I measure I measure the months now because after 80 you start thinking maybe it's my time. Because folks, when you look around, at least in this country, people who are 80 are usually creaking and croaking around and have a lot of health issues. Sure, there are some that are 95 and 100 and they're still pretty spry. I hope I'm going to be like that. Brian hopes he's going to be like that. But he's a youngster. He could be my son. He's 65 years old, for Pete's sakes. I'm 87 and 3/4. So I've been around a few more years and my body should be largely decrepit. But look, that's 87-year-old skin, and it's still not bad. And sure, I have some crinkles and lines and so on. We don't use makeup on these calls, and time is what it is, no matter who you are, no matter what you do, no matter what you eat, how you sleep, how you exercise, your body is going to start to get older. Brian's is getting older, but he hasn't been around long enough. So, Brian, why are you why are you on this call to begin with? Tell us the whole story from the beginning. Why you're still in good shape at your age?
Okay, well, thanks for having me on this call. I started JC Tonic 25 years ago, so it's 40 years old then. I was taking another health supplement, and it did okay in the beginning, but towards the end, I was always tired. I could have slept 24/7. I slept good, but I wake up, my alarm would go off, I hit the snooze and go right back to sleep, and do that like 3 times, and finally, okay, I gotta get up, go to work.
Is that why? Because you were like that because you were working long hours, or was just that's the way you were all your life?
That that's well, maybe not all my life, but, as I'm going into my 30s and stuff, I'm always tired, and I wasn't always like that. So something's changed, and so that was going on. My job at the time was very physical. I was lifting things, always on my feet. So the job tired me out. So get home and I'll go home, get cleaned up, eat dinner, and just want to lay on the couch like a potato and fall asleep, and It didn't matter how much sleep I got, how little sleep I got, I was just constantly tired. Aches and pains were starting to come in my shoulders, my back, my arms. I'm thinking, I'm only, in my late 30s, what's going on here, and uh, I understand I have a physical job and stuff, but, and that. And then I lost all my sense of smell and taste.
You
I
mean
had like
just like overnight?
pretty much, I had like a summer cold. It lasted a few days, and all of a sudden my smell and taste was gone. I couldn't smell or taste anything. I would notice things in the air, like if a man or woman had too much perfume or cologne on and they walked by, I would sense something, but I couldn't, tell you what it was. But yeah, so that was all gone. Well, then my friend Carol, she introduced me into the JC Tonic, and okay, well, tell me more about it. And I did my research and stuff. And I said, well, okay, I'll give it a go. Well, about a month and a half into it, I was waking up before my alarm clock, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. And, well, what? This never happens, and it just was, yeah. And it happened every day, you know? And
You mean from the beginning when you first started drinking it within days?
well, a month and a half about into it.
Oh,
It was
oh,
probably happening sooner, but I just first noticed about a month and a half into it that all of a sudden, you know what? I'm waking up before my alarm clock.
yeah.
And I'm awake. I'm not wanna hit the snooze and go back to sleep. I says, "Well, is this a fluke?" But it kept happening day after day after day, So, hey, I like this, So all of a sudden, I'm awake now. I have energy. And we talk about JC Tonic giving you energy. It's not this hyper energy like you get with caffeine or something, It just gives you a nice balanced energy throughout the whole day. And I come home, clean up, eat supper, and okay, well, let's do something.
And
So it's
before that, all you'd wanna do is go to sleep.
yeah, if there was nothing exciting on TV to watch or anything, yeah, I'd be sleeping. There's probably a lot of people out there that have similar stories like that. But just think of that. That affected my lifestyle. My family life was affected by it. Because you don't have time to. You're just tired. You don't have the energy to commit to the family like you should, or you could probably get a little cranky because you're tired, and and that always deflects to your significant
Sure,
others.
even if you have your chores and whatever you have to do with the children, homework, but you're tired, you don't feel like it, and you'll
Yeah,
get cranky or angry or,
yeah,
you're not happy doing it.
yeah.
That's
And
quality of life, isn't it?
it is.
Yeah.
So so here, that flipped around. Did a total 180. All of a sudden, I need less sleep now than I did before, and I'm waking up rested. How does that work? Right? And so yeah, I'm staying up later at night, because I'm not tired. And then so that flipped around. My aches and pains disappeared. My back and my shoulders, my arms and stuff, that disappeared.
And that too, probably just one day you realize that it's not there any longer.
Right. It probably, started slowly going away at a time. And before I realized, hey, you know what? I don't have these aches and pains anymore, right? It took a little bit further into it, taking JC Tonic with, I don't remember, it was 25 years ago, the exact time frame, but my sense of smell and taste started coming back little by little. Didn't all come back at once, but as time went on, all of a sudden, my I could taste things and smell things again.
How, over what time frame did that happen?
I'm gonna guess maybe, probably I started noticing things probably like 4 months into it.
Oh, that fast. Oh, good, okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
so it wasn't overnight, but in looking back at it, people got to realize our illnesses or sicknesses didn't come overnight. So, I can't expect them to go away in a week's time. But
And that exactly is what I was saying at the, beginning of the call, how our bodies are quite able, but you're right. you didn't get ill overnight or tired overnight. It happened for maybe, I don't know, 10, 20 years, little by little. So
Yeah,
the road back, if it took only 4 months, that's already a miracle. I would have thought that you'd only start feeling what you were feeling in a year or so. But
right.
this is great that it worked that quickly.
That reminds me of an article that I read. Dr. Bernie Segal, he mentioned that the pancreas can be shut down as much as 80% before clinical symptoms show up.
Wow.
That's a lot, you know? So as I'm taking this JC tonic, so all of a sudden, it helps me. I'm getting my rest. I got my energy back. Aches and pains are gone. I can handle stress for my working hours and stuff a lot better. I'm pooping regularly now, which is a big thing. Uh, my taste and smell came back, and uh, I don't want to go back to feeling like that. So I'm not going to stop drinking this. I want to stay healthy. And I believe that's the issue as well with a lot of things. Preventative, right? We need something to keep taking care of our bodies, a daily maintenance that we don't get in our daily food items anymore. We
Well,
need
I
it.
alluded to the people how they spend more time bringing their car to the auto shop to have it tuned up, but we
Right.
don't do the same with our body. But you're right, because it's breaking down. No matter what we do, what we want it to do is break down more slowly. And if we did
Right.
some maintenance, that's what would happen. But, this is very interesting what you said, and what thousands and tens of thousands of people who drank this and felt like you did after a time, and then they stopped because they said, "Well, I don't need it anymore because I'm fine." But they don't realize that the body is still growing old and it's breaking down. And 5, 10 years later, all the same stuff comes back, maybe even worse.
Exactly. Yeah. And I've heard those calls over the years. And I don't want to be one of those people. I want to stay feeling good like I always am. It's nice to wake up in the morning not feeling stiff and achy and oh gosh, I got to take my pills in the morning, and so as of now, I'm not on any medications.
That's also remarkable. You're 65 now?
Yes.
Look, you look like a youngster.
Yeah. People have mentioned that I don't look 65.
No. And you've worked hard, and you worked long hours, and you had stress and so on. Everybody, just by the way, Brian has been a chef in a big restaurant for a long time with 50 or so people to look after. That's stressful. I can assure you that that's stressful. And yet you look far younger than your age.
Yeah. Well, here I am 60, one in my 50s and 60s, whatever. And, I have coworkers that are in their 20s and I run circles around them. I says, come on, let's go. We gotta, well, I'm tired. I can't do it. Well, you know what? But I look back at that and that's how I probably was before I started JC Tonic. Tired. I didn't have the, I don't know, gumption or whatever to work.
Well, what is it that those youngsters have that they won't try something like JC? I'm sure you mentioned to them and they said, "Yeah, yeah, yeah."
Yeah,
Like,
some did it, some a lot of them say, "Well, I can't afford that." I says, "Well, it's all in priorities. Would you rather keep smoking and destroying your life? You know, would you rather go to casinos, 4 times a month instead of maybe only going twice?
and
It's not that expensive."
isn't that amazing? They
Yeah,
say, "I can't afford it," but they're spending what does cigarettes cost now? Or they go to the bar and have 4 or 5 drinks at
yeah,
10 bucks or something a drink, and they can afford that, but they can't afford to stay young.
yeah.
I
For a
mean,
couple bucks a day,
yeah.
it's priorities, right? And that's just way people are. But we got to keep trying and to get the word out, and eventually they some come around and you know and try it and say, wow, I should have did this years ago.
Well, Brian, having gone through what you went through and having all those they're really small health issues corrected. I mean, some people have these major health issues. You mentioned the pancreas, the liver, the this, the that that's working improperly, but you never had those kind of issues, but the ones you had corrected and you kept all the rest away by staying in better shape. So your body really is younger than most people at your age, just as mine is. And we have the other day, there was a lady actually on the video that I just made, Martha. She's 75 and people think she's in her maybe late 50s max. She's been on it 40 years as well, you know. So people that drink it and stay on it actually are younger.
Yeah, so yeah, exactly. So just recently, we got the fires burning up in Canada. All that smoke is coming down into Wisconsin here. And I mean, the other morning the sun come up and it was just orange. It wasn't nice bright yellow like it should be because of the smoke haze that's over it all the time. And people are having issues breathing, especially if they have asthma. It didn't affect me. I was so well. The only thing I contribute to this, I take JC Tonic. Been taking it for many years. I want to, think that my body is healthy enough to handle this stuff.
Well, that's a good point, that's important, especially these days. You know, I couldn't be more happy with this new government who's got this "Make America Healthy Again"
Attitude.
program,
Yeah,
because really we have to make America healthy. But if you are in super good health like yourself, you can take certain maybe ingredients or breathe in the smoke from the fire, and your body is able to get rid of those toxins, whereas a body that's not healthy cannot do it, and hence they really shows. So if you're strong and healthy and your lungs are in good shape and your blood is clean, which, by the way, everybody, the reason Brian is like he is because the JC tonic is a catalyst to the bloodstream to clean it up. So when you have cleaner blood, it can do more and it can handle more. So if it does have to breathe some air like that into the lungs, it'll get rid of it much more quickly, or it'll get rid of it, period. Whereas a body that's not well cannot. And so it suffers more.
yeah. I think everybody agrees that our food supplies aren't as good as they used to be. Uh, I think people will agree that we need to take some kind of food supplements, vitamins, and everything like this. And you go to the stores and they're just full of vitamins, and it's like, well, what do you take, right? You can't take them all. I s- so everyone usually kind of they'll agree with taking vitamins and stuff. Okay, here is something. It's a whole body balancer. The tonic means balance. So here's a whole body food supplement that works from your head to your toe, inside and out. Just take one thing, once or twice a day, and things will happen. Things will change. You know,
You know, if some people are listening to what you're saying and they say, yeah, yeah, but what about vitamins and minerals? Well, if you have a lousy diet, if you're eating junk food all day long or prepared foods that are void of all the necessary vitamins and trace minerals and so on, by all means, take a vitamin. I mean, you want to keep your body going. But if you're drinking the tonic, and eating rather relatively decent food, you should be okay.
yeah. Well, the tonic herbs that you use, I mean, the vitamins are in there. You have trace minerals in there and everything. That's it's there. You know, it's
Well,
I
there
can't.
is a certain amount. It's not a replacement for
Right.
good nutrition, but it certainly will help. But if you drink the tonic anyway, you're going to want better food. We have this photo of a fellow that lost 100 pounds. He had a big belly, and he told me it's because he ate junk food all the time. Well, it gave him the extra weight. It made him unhealthy. He didn't have proper nutrition. When he started the JC tonic, in a couple of weeks, he was starting to eat salads again just because his body asked for better food. And that'll happen automatically. So,
Yeah, but I mean,
again, those people that you were working with, the youngsters, all they have to do is drink it. The question, as you said, is how do we get them to do it?
yeah. So, but I was one of those people too, where I work, people would, it's their birthday, so they'd bring in donuts or fruit or something, and well, years ago I'd have a donut, you know, but
Well, that's okay.
well, but as I started drinking the JC tonic, all of a sudden, you know what? I want the fruit now, and I have not had a donut for decades. I just don't. All these sugar things. No, I'll have a piece of cake or something, like that, or ice cream or something. So it's not like I don't
Not
need
like you
that.
need it every hour of the day.
Right, but I know that the donuts and that they're just all sugar. I don't need that.
Well,
I
even
don't want.
I eat a bag of chips or whatever every
Sure,
once in a while, and I feel it. I know that my body is screaming, "What have you done to me?" You know.
exactly.
But you can handle something like that when you're in good health periodically. There's
Sure.
no problem. We have a fellow that was an alcoholic for 30 years. I mean, imagine what the body is, and after the tonic, hasn't had a drink for a year. I mean,
Yeah,
this is remarkable,
it is. So that's the key. Take JAC tonic and start feeling good and let your body take care of itself that way. It can heal.
So, Brian, you've got everybody around you at 65 who's starting to spend time in the hospital taking all kinds of medications. Like you, I still don't use any of the systemic meds. When I do a blood workup on my annual, everything is pretty much in balance. Maybe it goes up a little, down a little. Of course, that's going to happen. But the good doctors have told us if you keep things more or less in balance, you're going to be okay. You don't need any medication. But that's not what's happening, particularly in America, unfortunately. So we have a big job still to do. You've been talking and telling people for all these years. Sorry, pal, but you have to keep doing it until you're 85.
It's okay. I enjoy it. It's good. It's good to share something and people get some good results with it and they start feeling good.
Well,
So
if you talk to 10 people, 8 of them will think you're a nut, just like they still think I'm crazy. They say, "What are you talking about? Come on, Anthony." Because there's so many other forces that have told them the other way to keep in good health, and they're not keeping in good health the other way.
yeah,
They may be able to force the sugar out of the blood with a medication, but the moment you stop it, the sugar shoots right back up again. So not
yeah,
really, that's not really the answer. I think you need something to keep the sugar at a balance, and that's the body. If you keep the body in good shape, it'll do that kind of thing because that's what it did for your first 30 years or 40 years before you had your sugar problem.
yeah. It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
And uh, people look at me and says, "Well, yeah, you're taking this stuff and that's why you're feeling." I said, "Well, that's the only thing I'm doing different. My diet's changed because my body told me I should change it. But I said, I was like you, and this is me now, you know, and I'm 40 years older than you are. I was in your spot. I know how you feel. Now, if you want to feel like I do, start taking a JC tonic.
Okay, so you need to get your trunk full of JC Tonic and do the rounds. And you know what? Now they're talking just lately that they want to get rid of the sugary drinks and the junk food and stuff. The people actually have food stamps that I don't know, 20% of their food stamps is buying this kind of stuff. I mean, that's
Yeah,
just terrible that we've even allowed that to go on, you know. But
yeah,
everybody's into all that, and these energy drinks that are really causing problems for youngsters, you know?
they are. And they don't realize it, but 10, 15, 20 years from now,
Yeah.
it's gonna start showing somehow.
Well, Brian, you've covered a lot of great stuff for a lot of people, and these calls, of course, are particularly to see if those people you're just talking about could have a new lease on life if they were to drink the youth solution because it will keep you young as it's done for you and me and many others, and it will keep you more healthy and hopefully out of the hospital or at least not in the hospital too often. And so far, so good. So I really appreciate you coming on to tell your story. And that's all we can do is tell folks the stories. In your case, it's been energy and back pain and a whole host of small things that you could have lived with. Not very happy, but at least you could live. Some people are having a great deal of difficulty and they're having all kinds of treatments and surgeries because the body's broken down so quickly. And that's just really sad, you know. So
It is.
we have a big job still to do, and I appreciate you being here and being on the job. Maybe in 10 years, you'll come back and do another call, and you'll
There you
look
go.
just as young.
So yeah, I just want to, I'll just, say in the final, if anybody wants to talk to me, call the home office. I'll give them my information. I'll talk to them if they have questions. Uh,
Well, everybody in Wisconsin, we have tons of people who drank this at one time and then stopped. I'll guarantee you, I'll put my arm in fire. They are starting to have problems again. And that's going to happen to everybody because the body keeps breaking down. So we'll get this video out to Wisconsin. If you handle just the state of Wisconsin, Brian,
I'll give
you'll
you
have plenty.
that's fine. I enjoy it. My pleasure.
Thanks, Brian.
All right.
Talk to you soon. All right.
Bye.
Bye. What can I tell you? This is what this JC Tonic does, the youth solution. Now, here I am in sunny Florida, probably 20 minutes away from Mar-a-Lago, and the president really should be drinking this. You know, they not advertise, but they announced that he has a bit of an ankle problem with swollen ankles and so on, and this would probably clear it up in no time. It's not a cure. This is not a cure for anything, but it really works to the detoxification, the oxygenation, the purification of the blood, and that blood goes from the tip of the toes to the follicles of the hair. Now, I've repeated this many times, and I'm going to continue repeating it because people have to realize that all of that can be largely avoided or rolled back. Even, there was a lady that said she got her aunt who was going to have stents in her leg because of neuropathy. Well, that's poor circulation, and the blood isn't feeding the nervous system, and now the nerves are starting to go, and they're causing neuropathy. So if you clean up the blood supply, then it starts going down to the leg. It'll start to repair whatever is wrong with the body because that's what your body was made to do and can do and will do, but it needs to be able to do it. And when it's full of junk, the blood it's like a sewer system in most people. If you clean it up, it'll just work better. So everybody in the body, every organ, every system, every little part, every cell is going to be happier because they'll start to work again. And when that happens, you can roll back the years. And we have people who actually looked much younger. There was a lady, Ruthie, we have to re-show you those before and after pictures. There is a photo of her at 65 and one at 85. And we put the before at the 65 and the after at 85, and people said, "We think you made a mistake. The 85 should have been the 65, and the 65 should have been the 85." No, we didn't make a mistake. She actually started to look younger and younger and younger. Sure, she's been drinking it like Brian for, I don't know, 30 years, 40 years, but look at what happened. Ah, Ruthie, this is her before and this is her after. Amazing, isn't it? And we have tons and tons of photos like that, folks, of people who look younger even when they were looking and feeling older. So get on the JC Tonic, the youth solution. I'm staying young. Ask me how I'm doing it. It's easy. It was a lady, Marcy. She had a tremendous turnaround after a bout of cancer. Again, this is not a cancer cure, but it certainly made her feel a lot better. As a matter of fact, she was supposed to go for chemo with stage 3 cancer. And when she went after drinking the tonic for about 3 months, doctor said after doing the test, he said, "Doesn't look like you need chemo any longer." And she said, "What? What?" And he said, "Well," he said, "the stage 3 looks like it may be stage 1." maybe stage 0. He said, I don't know, but I don't think you need the chemo. So stranger things have happened, folks. Get on the JC. And those of you in Wisconsin, you want to talk to Brian, call us at home office. We'll give you his number. You can talk with him and he can fill you in on whatever you need to know. Okay? Appreciate y'all. Thank you very much for being here once again. Another Tonic Man podcast. Worldwide. Remember, we do ship worldwide. That's why it's called Jurak Worldwide, because the idea was to look after people worldwide. Remember, doesn't matter where you are, what country, what size, what gender, what color, what religion, what anything. Everybody's body functions exactly the same way. Exactly. There's a liver, there's a couple of kidneys, and so on and so forth. And they all go through the same thing. And largely, a lot of it has to do with the way we eat. So clean up your eating habits, get some good food in you, get rid of the junk. Let's make America healthy again. And when America's healthy again, the whole world it's gonna be like a contagious. Everybody's gonna want to be like Americans, healthy again. Okay? Thanks a lot. See you later. Have a great, great, great rest of your day. And don't forget, as we always say around here, take an ounce and feel the bounce. Bye for now.